Hey guys, today is day 27 of the 30-day fear challenge video. And for today's video, we're going to be doing a get ready with me, and you guys are going to watch me put on my makeup. I've always been very intrigued with makeup, but I've never felt very confident doing makeup. My makeup game starting in high school was very less than beginner's level, and that's usually for everybody that's what happens. I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge over time, but I don't feel that I know as much as I could. I'm going to get ready with you on camera today, and I'm going to do a basic tutorial of how I do my makeup, what I use, how I use it, and then that way you guys can tell me down in the comment section if I do a good job, if I know what I'm talking about, or if there's any pointers that you guys can give me, because I know that there's probably a lot of stuff that I'm doing wrong. I don't know everything about makeup. I've learned a lot from watching YouTube videos and like watching reviews and how to kind of do stuff. I feel like there is very much an era of you need to know something about makeup and using those as a foundation for learning makeup and how to do makeup. But for someone like me, I feel very much that I'm on my own. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best. At the end of the day, when I wear the makeup that I've chosen to wear, I feel really good about myself. I feel like I look really good. There are some things that I wish that I could learn. My eyebrow game is like zero. I don't understand how to do it. I hate my eyebrows. I want to just get them microbladed and be done with it because I don't know what I'm doing. And every time I do them, they look super dark and I look like I have caterpillars on my face, and it's just a mess. It's a hot mess. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So some of my makeup that I have is kind of piecemealed together of things that I've liked, things that I didn't like. Over the years, gotten rid of a lot of stuff. I have a lot of little techniques that I do for myself that I think it will be very interesting to see if other people do this or if this is something stupid that I do. The first thing that I do, and I actually just got out of the shower, I put on some clothes and decided that this is what I'm doing for my fear video because it scares me a lot. I'm very nervous to do this and to hear what people say about me about it, but I'm also interested at the same time, so we're gonna do this. So I just use a normal everyday cheap brand, off-name brand of lotion that is just a moisturizing lotion with SPF 15 sunscreen in it, and that's what I do. It's non-greasy, it has vitamins in it. I just kind of shake it up, put a little bit on my finger, and then I just make sure to get my nose, and particularly my forehead, because my forehead gets really dry, and my chin. Because those are the places that I feel that I get really dry. And in my mind, for whatever reason, I feel like it kind of puts a slight barrier against my skin and the makeup, which probably isn't true because the lotion just sinks right into the skin. And I've actually had this for a really long time. It's just still a full bottle, so I don't know if there's an expiration date on it. Yeah, 10/2017, so I probably should get a new bottle of that. So we're just going with that with what I've got. I wanted to be as honest and as real with you guys as possible because I feel like that's better. Then the next thing I do after I give it some time to actually dry into the skin so that my skin, I don't feel like I have anything left on the skin, is I will put a primer. And I use the Hard Candy primer, and it's the Sheer Envy Primer Perfecting, and I believe this one is the one that's supposed to make your skin look more matte when you put the makeup on. And I just got this little tube at Walmart because I didn't know if I was gonna like this product or not, and so I just got the little trial size. When I use this, I just make sure to put it on my nose and slightly on the little middle, the T-zone of my forehead, down my nose and into my pores here, because I do have lines here, and so sometimes the makeup will kind of crack right there, and then just on my chin, just so that it creates a barrier between my skin and the makeup that's going to sit on my skin, because I don't want to break out. And a little bit will go a long way. So and it's kind of interesting because it smells like something my mom used to use when I was a little kid. Just a little bit more. I'm going to start with my foundation. That's what I start with. And so I just kind of push my hair out of my face. And I also take out my piercings because I'm going to put them in afterwards because I don't want to get the foundation all over my piercings. The foundation that I use is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation, and I use the color Rose Ivory. It's like a light color. It has a slight pink tone to it as well, an undertone. My skin has kind of a slight pinky undertone, and I wanted to go with something as close to my skin color as possible. So I just shake that up. And then I use a beauty blender, and what I do, and I already cleaned this and it's just slightly a little bit damp, is I'll actually use the little wand that comes in this and just plop it right onto the corner side of the beauty blender. And I always start with under the eyes, because that I feel is like my problem area is my eyes. I have kind of dark circles and discoloration just right there, so I just want to go there first, and I'm just kind of like gently jumping up and down on the skin with a beauty blender. And I make sure to get my actual top of my eye, because I have a lot of veins in that underneath my eyebrows, and I don't want that coloration to show, because I feel like it kind of makes me look like different colored. I want to be as one tone as much as possible, and I actually like makeup that's more of a natural look, so I actually try not to put too much makeup on. I'm just basically using makeup as an enhancer to kind of smooth out my skin, give it one uniform color, a little pop of color on the lid, mascara, eyeliner, and that's pretty much it. I don't go too crazy. I have added some stuff to my makeup routine to kind of like make it more modern than what like my mom would use. And so I've kind of added some of that stuff, but other than that, I try not to go too crazy. So I just come up to the T-zone and I just kind of blend out from the middle of my T-zone between my eyebrows down my nose. Just kind of blending out the color, but not super covering the area, because you're not going to see the skin underneath because of my hair and the way that it falls, but I just want it to kind of be just a little bit uniform. And I never drag the sponge across my skin. It's actually something I learned in drama class, is that if you want the skin to actually attach to the makeup more natural, then you want to kind of bounce on the skin. You just kind of slightly sponge up and down on the skin instead of smoothing down the skin. So you just kind of want to slightly cover up the color. And then I just want to make sure that I get into the crease of my nose. Make sure I get into the corner of my eye and on top of the lid. And I try not to go over to the areas too much, because I've noticed that the makeup will slightly start to move on the skin if I do that with this type of foundation. And this actually, I did a lot of research on YouTube, and I bring it down the neck as well, just to, and the ears, just to make sure that the color is good. But I did a lot of research on this foundation because I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know the difference between matte and skin perfecting and all of those words, that it's like, if you don't use makeup every single day, if you didn't grow up with makeup or having someone in your life that knows technical terms about makeup, the words mean nothing to you. They're just words. And so I actually had to do a lot of YouTube research in that, and I ended up coming across this product, and I went to the store and I had my husband help me pick out the color because I wasn't quite sure what color and like the tone, and so I ended up picking this one out with his help, and I feel like it matches my skin tone really well and actually looks really good on camera. And that's one of the big things about the photo focus, is that it looks good when you take a picture, and I'm always on camera now, and so that's what I decided to go with. And I always just make sure to like brush out the hair. Sometimes I'll actually take a eyebrow brush and just kind of make sure that there's no makeup in the side hairs, because I feel like sometimes that will kind of give off the impression that I have a lot of makeup on, and I don't want that to be the case. And then I also go through my eyebrows just to make sure there's no foundation in the eyebrows. And that's all that I do for my eyebrows, because I don't feel confident enough to do my eyebrows, but I know that they're very sparse here, but and the shape, I feel like the shape is very lacking. They're just very round. They're just on the face. And that is all that I do for my foundation for that. I have looked into concealer. I haven't found a concealer that really matches my skin tone yet. I know what one I want to get because of the application, but I just haven't found the color, the tone color that I'm looking for. So we're gonna skip that. And then the next thing I do is I bake my face, and I do it with the Coty Airspun, and I just do the no color, the translucent. This was another YouTube find that I came across. I did not grow up with this. I've never heard of this. My husband's mom uses this, so he knew what it was. So then what I do is I actually pull out the little tray. I don't use the little powder puff that's in this, and I just like very carefully have that. And then I actually take my beauty blender with a little bit of foundation on the side that's just left over, and I'll just kind of pop into it. And this is still a little damp, and then I just make sure I have a little bit, and then I bake under my eyes. And the reason why I do this is because it was a YouTube find. It actually works really well just to kind of like perfect the skin. And I do it down the sides of my nose. And it is very loose and kind of messy. And so usually I do this in the bathroom, but we're doing this here. Kind of look like I'm a Coke addict here with this on the side of my nose. So that's great. It smells amazing, but when I first started using it, I accidentally would always get it in my eye, and it would make my eyes just water ridiculously. I'd ruin my makeup. It was terrible on the T-zone of the nose. Yeah, it's a mess. And in my mind, what this stuff does, from what I understand, is that it kind of makes the skin more matte and kind of fills in the pores of the area. So that way the foundation actually looks really good. So I have matte primer, matte foundation, and then this that makes it more matte. So then while that is baking on the skin, we just kind of let it sit there. I move on to doing my eyeshadow and my eyes. So the first thing that I do for my eyeshadow and my eyes is I do something that's a little backwards than what I see on YouTube. And I'm sorry, this is just what I do. It makes me feel comfortable. So I always do my eyeliner first, and I just do a straight pencil. I use the Maybelline Line Express, and I always get the darkest color that I possibly can. And every single time that I go to use it, every time, doesn't matter when the last time I used it, if it's the same day, I don't care, I will actually always sharpen the pencil. It's just something that I did since I was a little kid. I know that you have a lot of germs in your eye, on your eye, and for whatever reason in my mind, if you use a tool to say cut chicken, would you use that tool again? You know that it's dirty. And so putting this in my eye and then letting it sit there and have the germs just kind of do their thing on it, like, I don't agree with that. So I sharpen it just a little bit, and then I kind of smooth it out on just like a piece of paper, piece of toilet paper, something like that, just to kind of make sure that it's nice and smooth. And then I'll just go into my actual eye, so actually go as far in as I possibly can near the tear duct and place it inside the eye so I can kind of feel it. And then on the top lid on the inside of the eye, just kind of trace it down. Like that. And it naturally will get some color on the bottom lid as well, and it kind of gives this light line to a almost slight inside cat eye naturally with my eye that it does. And that's what I do. So I'll do it on the other side as well, kind of go inside of the tear duct corner, and I can feel it on the inside of my lid. And I pull out, and then it does that on the same side as well, just like that. And so I do have a little bit of a darker spot here because I actually had a sty on my eye. So I have like a higher spot of the lid there, so I'm actually going to wipe that away. But then it just kind of gives some color on the more of the outside of the lid. And I know you could probably hold down the lid and do this yourself and like pull up and like do this. It freaks out my eye. It actually hurts my eye, so I don't. I just let my eye naturally be lined how it would be, just slightly darker. So that's the eyeliner. And so then I do my eyeshadow. So I kind of do it backwards. I see a lot of people on YouTube, they do their eyeshadow and then their eyeliner. And I do mine backwards. That's just what I've always done. For my eyeshadow, I actually use an old CoverGirl's just 4 palette. It's just got a dark brown, a glitter silver copper color, a gold color, and then a more of like white cream color for a base. And I've used this forever since I actually got it. I bought it at just a mom and pop's store, and I've had it forever. I love colors that are brown and darker, and I really like glitters, and so I've just always kept this palette, and I very lightly use it. I use the white more than anything, and that's pretty much all my makeup that I really use. I use the same things over and over and over. I just wear them in slightly different variations of like color lines and like how I apply it on the lid. And that's it, and that's what works for me. I'm going to be using my brushes that I have acquired very recently. I only use 2 different types of brushes right now. I use Eco Tools by Bamboo, and then I also use the Wet n Wild, the just cheap brushes that just came out recently where they have like a slight handle. And I have a couple different styles of eyeshadow pencils, so ones that are more densely packed, ones that are more fluffy brushes. And then I have the Eco Tools sets that each of these just do a slightly different type of like face. So I have my face brushes and I have my eye brushes. And so that's what I use, just very basic. It's what works for me. I'm going to use a very light, fluffy brush for the outside. I'm just gonna basically take the darker color in this palette, which this palette is so old, you guys, I don't think that this even exists anymore. And I tap off the excess, and I'm going to create just a light crease on the outer lid area, not going too high to the brow bone because I want to leave that area with no color whatsoever. And I'm just going to create a light crease of darker color. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to very lightly do this because I've noticed with this specific palette that the color goes on very quickly. It's like very pigmented is the color, like the word that beauty YouTubers use. So I just very lightly, and I kind of do like a slight swirling motion into the skin. And I only go up about halfway into the eye. So I'm actually going to only come into the middle of my eye with the color. And I just try to stay out on the outside of the lid. And I really want to take my time doing this because I can always add more color. It's harder to take away color. So I want to go very slow and make sure that I do a really good job. And this is not something that I saw my mom do as a kid. This is not how we did our eyeshadow back in the 90s. We just don't. So I take a little bit more color, shake it off, and then I'm gonna do the other side. And my skin up here is very thin and very soft. So a little bit of movement goes a long way for me. I just want to make sure that I get to the middle of my eye as well because I want to try to make it as uniform as possible. So this one is not as dark as the other ones. We're going to kind of come up a little bit. Same with this. So see how it's just kind of like giving like a shadow on the outside of the eye? It just kind of gives definition to the eye. So that is what I do for that, and that is it. And then for the rest, what I do is I use a very dense flat brush from Wet n Wild in the same kind of like makeup family brush set. And I go in with the really glittery coppery gold. I feel like because I have blue eyes and I have very fair skin and darker hair, that browns and golds and that they work really well with my color palette. And so I just get a little bit because this stuff, wow. And I never use this little brush thing that's in there. I've used it to kind of like wipe clean the palettes, and that is it. I never use that because it just doesn't work. When I was in high school I did, but this makes a world of difference. I had no idea before I actually got makeup brushes. Literally within this last year, I didn't realize that the type of makeup that you have is great and all, but what really helps an artist be an artist is the brushes that he uses on the canvas. And the canvas is huge as well. If you start with a good canvas and you have good tools, no matter what kind of makeup that you have, whatever your medium is that you're going to use to create your art, it is huge. It makes a huge difference. So I made sure to get really good brushes, and these may not be the best. They are cheap brushes, but they're better than what I was using before, and they make a huge difference. And learning the technique in that makes a huge difference too. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the lid, and I try not to like swipe. I just kind of do the whole up and down movement again, and I just kind of work it from the dark line out to the rest of my lid. And the reason why I don't just like smear it on now, because I used to do that before, it packed on way too much color. And I just want slight color. I don't want too much. I'm just adding, just enhancing my natural beauty that I feel that I have. And this also helps me to not get the color everywhere. I used to just like wipe it right on the top of the lid, and that just doesn't work. It doesn't look good with today's makeup. Like back then, that is what you did. You had your 3 color palettes. You had your high, your low, and your medium. You did your base color all over the lid. You did your high up top, and then your low, which was your bright color. You used it to kind of highlight areas of the eye, and that's what you used, and that was it. There wasn't any of this, we're gonna have a 20 palette and we're gonna choose like 5 colors and we're gonna make it all work. Like, that was not how they did their makeup back then, at least from what I understand. And that's it for the eyeshadow. I don't use anything else in this. We got our eyeshadow, we got our foundation, and I've been baking for a while now, so I'm ready to actually move on to the next step. Is I will take the Skin Perfecting Eco Tools brush from Bamboo. I just make sure that there's nothing else in there. I've already cleaned it, but it's just something I do, and I'll actually brush off the bake. And I always start high and work my way down, so I'll make sure that all the bake is off the forehead, and I do a swipe up motion. That way, if there's anything left over, it kind of helps smooth out. And then I'll start down from my nose. And I make sure to get under my eye and out. That way I'm working it off my face. And out and down. And I make sure down my nose. And I make sure I get in that crease, that I get it all out. Down the face. And then down the chin. And out. And that's it. The bake is off the face. And then after the bake, I like to go ahead and do my blush, which I've had this blush forever. It's CoverGirl's, and it is a Cheekers, and it is in a very light pink. I don't like to go too heavy of a red or anything on my face. I like to just try to keep it as natural as possible. So this was pretty close to my skin tone color, and I used to use the brush that's in here, but I don't anymore. When I started using the Eco Tools brushes, I got this. This is actually for more of a sculpting tool to actually use for bronzer and that sort of stuff, but I feel like it works really good for my blush. So it's more of a dense pack, but it's got a lot of loose brushes on the top as well. And so what I do is I just take just a little bit of the color, and I really make sure to get that color off, because this is very pigmented. It's gonna go on really well. And I kind of smile, and I find the apples of my cheeks, and I work my way up, and I just kind of bristle it on, what you would do with like SFX makeup in drama and when you're on Broadway. And I just kind of work up the line of my cheek, and I'm just popping some color back on to my face. And I won't add any extra color because it's still gonna be super pigmented. And I just work up, stifling up the skin, up. And it just adds just a little bit of the pink back into my face, but in a way that I added it, not just letting my face get all red. And that is it for blush. The next thing that I do is I actually do highlight, and this is something that I added into my makeup routine. Before, I used to just do eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, and that was it. I didn't really do all this extra stuff. This is stuff that I've added within the last year of watching YouTube videos, and like, yeah, I really like that. I think that looks really good. I want to learn how to do that. So this is another YouTube thing that I found, a Wet n Wild highlighter powder, and I get the Precious Petals. It's the Mega Glow, and it's just the highlighting powder. I actually got this at the time of Halloween last year, because that was the only place I could find it, was in the Halloween section. I like it because it's got like a slightly more goldy pinky color, and I don't use a highlighter brush because I don't have one yet, but I use a Wet n Wild, and this is an eyeshadow, and it's just very, very loosely packed, but it's kind of like in an angled sort of way. It's like flat but poofy. So I use this, and I actually just take some of the powder and brush it off. And then where I like to highlight my face, because I have a round face, is I like to highlight on my cheekbones because I have very nice cheekbones. I like to highlight down my nose because I don't like my nose, so I create a different type of highlight on the nose to kind of make it look different. And then I highlight the inside of the eye just to kind of give my eye more color. And then that's it. That's all I use it for. So let's go ahead and do that. And I like to bring it up here. And I just kind of follow my cheekbone. Kind of give it more definition. And so it's just kind of like a very light highlight. The first time I used this though, I didn't use a brush at all. I think I used like a cotton swab or something. And that was really dumb because, oh my gosh, it looked so crazy. I make sure not to go too far down my cheek either, because then that's going to defeat the purpose of giving it like a highlight. And you can kind of see the highlight here. Just very light. I feel like very natural. Like obviously this isn't something natural that your skin does, but I really like that it looks really good. It's kind of like redefining your face with contouring. I've actually never contoured my face. And just lightly there. And I just do it down the middle of my nose to kind of bring up my face. I feel like it makes the nose look thinner because I feel like I have kind of a bigger nose. And then I close my eye and just kind of dust it in the middle, inner corner. Just some color down. That's it for the highlight. Very pretty. Okay. And then I use a mascara. It's the Voluminous Lash Paradise. And I use the waterproof in the black, the darkest color. This is another YouTube find. I did a lot of research on seeing what works good, what's a good waterproof mascara, the wand that works, and that actually gives volume to my eyelashes. I feel like I have eyelashes, but I don't feel like they're very defined. So I was looking for something that was voluminous and just kind of gave more oomph. And I really like this brush. The brush is very nice. It's just very wispy and I feel more natural. It's thicker here, but kind of thin in the middle. It kind of gives like a cone shape, a slight cone shape. And then I just don't do anything special. I just put it on because, I don't know, sometimes I use a eyelash curler, but it kind of freaks out my eyes. And it's not something that I really grew up with, so I don't feel normal using it. It feels very weird and foreign to me. And I usually only do one coat. Because this stuff, since it's waterproof, it is very thick. I have to use a makeup wipe, which I didn't start using makeup remover wipes until like 3 months ago. It was very, very recent. I just used Dawn dish soap and a washcloth before, but this stuff is waterproof. You're not getting it off. Once it's on, it is on. It is ridiculous. And then I have very touchy, sensitive eyes, and this doesn't bother my eyes unless I leave it on for too long. And I just make sure to use kind of the end to kind of get those eyelashes that are there, kind of get them separated and broken out, because my eyelashes will try to clump. And my eyelashes on their own, they're very long, and so I just needed volume, and this stuff is all amazing. Highly recommend. It's totally worth it. Like, beautiful, amazing. I have started using the Lily Moisture Lip Crayon. I use this every once in a while. I'm not going to use it today because I'm actually wearing my lip rings, the round ones, and it kind of gets all over them. It's just something that happens when you have facial piercings. And when I used to have my eyebrow pierced and my nose pierced, I didn't wear foundation. I didn't do all of this because I don't feel like it would work. I think it would be interesting to test that out though. If I felt like I wanted some extra coverage, if I knew I was going out and in Arizona, it's very hot, before I put on the mascara, I would spray my face down with the Matte Hard Candy setting spray. I would do that, and then I would put my mascara on, and then that would be it. That's all my makeup that I do. So we'll go ahead and put my piercings back in, and that's it. That's my makeup. And that's all that I do. I don't go crazy. I don't feel like I put a lot on. I'm actually very happy with this style of makeup. I feel like adding in what I already knew before and learning the new stuff that I've learned now has really, really helped me. Alright, and that's the end of the look. Just very natural. Something that I have kind of taken parts in that from what I've learned in high school, what I feel comfortable with, and then mixed with modern day now techniques and makeup and things that I've learned. I'm so thankful for YouTube being able to actually see people's reviews and see what actually works for them and what doesn't work for them, and the good and the bad. When you walk down the makeup aisles of Walmart or anywhere, it is so overwhelming. There's so much new from what I remember as a kid to now, and that was only 10 years ago. It's so overwhelming, and I'm so thankful for YouTube. I'm so thankful for YouTubers, beauty YouTubers, for doing the work that they do, for taking the time and the effort and everything that they put into this so that I was able to actually find a foundation that works for me. Find colors that fit for me, the Coty Airspun, the makeup brushes, all of it. I'm just so thankful for all of it. And I'm also thankful to you guys. Your guys' responses and your views mean so much to me. And I was so nervous to do this, but it actually felt really good to sit down, be so honest, be so real with you guys. Just get ready, put some makeup on, talk about it, the things that I've learned, the little tricks and little things that I use, and the things that I do. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please just give this a like and let me know. And thank you so much for helping me face my fear today. I actually really liked it. I've loved doing each one of these fear videos because I feel like I've been able to overcome this fear. No matter how small and how insignificant it may seem, it actually really helps me through my day. And so I just really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember, I love every single one of you. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video.